Welcome back to another episode of Unpacking Life with the Box and the Basket. Ricky and Vanessa. That's your makeshift basket. So, recently we've met people that their spouse or boyfriend have gone into the police academy. And they kind of like reached out to us and asking us about specifically the police academy and what that life is like. But more importantly, what being a spouse to a police officer is like. So I figured we would cover that today.
Even though you're not a police officer anymore.
Yeah. But I feel like it's good info.
Yeah. We left it in the past.
Yeah.
Recently.
Well, kind of. I had somebody hit me up about police stuff today.
Really?
You remember?
Oh, yeah.
Asking
I don't
for
think it's ever going to be
unit.
like out of you.
I know.
And then we're going to talk about what it's like being married to someone that's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Or runs their own business, I guess.
So before we get into it, though, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And like always, we appreciate you listening. So what's it like being a cop wife?
Chaos.
All the time?
All the time.
Or just some of the times?
All the time.
All the time?
Yeah, for sure. What it's like. You're a single mom 4 days out of the week. And holidays are
50-50?
no longer a thing.
No, that's not true. I was home for most holidays. I think I missed like one Christmas evening.
Just let me be dramatic.
Okay.
It's a lot because it's not like just a 9 to 5 that you go to and then, you come home and you're done. It's very like taxing on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's taxing on us because we're worried about you.
Yeah.
And so like the combination of that is kind of like ruins you a little bit as a person, I think, because
You or me?
both.
Yeah.
You in a way that like when you are off or were off, that you didn't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
Like it slowly continued to suck the life out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like perfectly content with just sitting on the couch. Like even if we would hang out with friends, you'd be like, okay, like you'll go. But like you don't want to go.
No.
And you have fun when you're there, but then you get like
You have to like drag
socially
me out.
exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is so sad because you need that, right, to like counterbalance the job.
And they tell you in the police academy, like have your friends, you're going to click up with other cops just because you're working together and everything, all the crap that you're going through together. But have civilian friends outside of law enforcement just because when you get cops together, that's all you guys talk about is work and hot calls that you had to go on or people that you had to fight or different crashes that, you went to where dudes were decapitated or whatnot. And it's a lot and it's taxing on everybody involved.
But then that's all you want to talk about.
Yeah. When you're around other cops. But like if we go to like, I don't know, the neighbor's house who isn't in law enforcement or anything like that, it's like a completely different conversation, completely different atmosphere. But then after a while, you start to realize like most civilians don't know what the world is like. And as a cop, you see the ugliest side of people every day, 10 hours a day when you're working, obviously. And it just makes you jaded to the world sometimes. Some weeks are better than others. But yeah, for sure. Like I did it for 5 years with CSPD with the city of Colorado Springs. And then Before that, I worked in the prison in Arizona, and then worked in the jail for one of the sheriff's departments in Arizona. And out of all three, I think running the street is definitely the most taxing on somebody, and taxing on a family and a relationship. And it's like, I'm like 2.5 months out now, and I feel like it's completely different world.
I told somebody today I had a closing, and it was with Priscilla and Jose, who I've known for a while, and they've lived here. And like I go over to their house like for the listing presentation, and I was there for 2 hours because we were just talking the whole time. So like we get along great. And her husband's getting ready to get out of the military, which is a whole nother beast of its own as well.
Yeah.
It's very similar, but in different ways, because they have such like a hold on you and like have such control over your life.
Right.
So he's getting ready to get out of the military. And Jose asked me, he's like, how's it going with Ricky? I was like, it's going, but I feel like you're unthawing is what I said. And it's like so accurate. It's like, you've been like, you freeze yourself, right, to be numb to all this stuff. And like, it's kind of how you were on your days off, like frozen, like just on the couch, very minimal things that you wanted to do. Like we would do stuff, but like you could tell that sometimes you weren't there because you're so checked out. And I said, now you're unthawing from that because like little by little, like you're going golfing and going to the gym, and like you never had like motivation to do that.
Like a good routine.
You told me yesterday we're gonna go hiking. I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? It's just been so many years that I feel like you weren't that person just because you were so exhausted.
Yeah. And
like, not that we didn't do anything. We do stuff and we go on vacations, but I feel like how you enjoy things now is completely different than how we enjoyed them then when you were still like on patrol.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. It's like, it's a great job. I always tell people like I love the job. I didn't leave because I didn't like it. I just liked my family more. And so I'd rather be doing this than, patrolling for 10 hours.
Yeah.
But it's just so taxing, like mentally. Like every call you go to, you're going to deal with somebody's worst day. You're going to go to stupid calls. I was just talking to my buddy today about it, where I think he had to go to a stupid call last night where it was like a noise complaint or something. And it's like 5 in the afternoon, in the evening. And the neighbor's calling because he heard like kids playing outside. And it's like just dumb stuff like that. You get sent to calls like that all the time. But I told him, I think one of my stupidest calls I had ever been on was this guy calls in, and it's like the first call out of the gate, so it's like 6 o'clock maybe. And the call notes just say that there's a van that's like going through the neighborhood and just blaring music, like at full blast.
I remember this.
And so I start driving that way, and the guy's still on the phone giving notes to the dispatcher, so like the call's updating with new information of like the location, blah, blah, blah. Something is just like a regular noise complaint. And so we're driving up that way, and I'm probably like a mile away. And then the update comes in of the description of the van. And it's like a white van, has a bunch of stickers of ice creams on the side, and it has a loudspeaker on the front. God. I'm like, it's a freaking ice cream truck. Are you shitting me right now?
Yeah.
And so I just pulled into the gas station. I didn't even bother going. I'm like, this is so dumb. And it's such a waste of time. And that's the type of stuff that like pisses cops off, because it's like, just deal with it. Like, they're going to leave your neighborhood in a few minutes. Just shut the hell up. Close your window. Close your door.
And what people don't understand is like, now you're taking time away from like somebody that actually needs help.
Right.
And you guys are overwhelmed with all this little bullshit that's coming in. And then sometimes other stuff gets missed because it's just wild to me. And then I feel like you carry a certain amount of anger when you're married to a cop in general, because like social media and stuff in the news. And then I obviously have PTSD. Like my internal temperature is rising Remember I told you it was cold? I have my grandma's sweater on.
Now you're sweating.
Now I'm like, woo! It's like, I see those posts like, oh, my car got stolen. Can anybody help? Oh, call the police. Oh, they're not doing shit. They don't help for anything. And then all these people start commenting, oh, yeah, I had this happen and they didn't do anything. I had this happen and they didn't do anything. There's only so many people. Like, they try, but it's like, the amount of shit. It's like, okay, well, tell all your friends and your neighbors and your whatever to stop calling about this and stop calling about that and stop calling about this, and then maybe they'll have more time. But like, it's just
when I was on day shift. So day shift is 5:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So we would always get those dumb property calls at like 7 a.m. whenever people were like waking up to go to work. And somebody broke into their car, but this idiot just left the door unlocked, or they stole stuff from the garage, but they forgot to close the garage the night before, or they left a bike out and somebody stole it, and it's just like stuff that you do to yourself, and like
you still have to help.
Yeah, and we still have to take these calls, but it's just like it's so preventable is the thing, like. Help me help you. Just lock your damn door.
Yeah.
Close your garage.
Yeah.
And so it's stuff like that where, and I'm not saying it's okay if you steal, if you leave your crap out, but just help yourself not lose your shit. Like, and so those are the calls where it's like they take so much time because I still have to do a full report, theft report, even if it's a misdemeanor crime. Because in the state of Colorado, if it's under $2,000, it's a misdemeanor. And then you get there. And you're like, what kind of bike was it? It's a red one. Like, do you have a picture of it? No. Do you have like a serial number or like anything that makes it identifiable? Like, no, it's just a red Huffy. And you're like, all right, thanks, bud. Like, we're not going to find this. And even if I do find somebody riding a red Huffy that
there's no way.
I can't say that it's yours because I'm sure it's not a one bike.
Yeah.
Or people that have like their PlayStations or cameras or phones or something stolen that has a serial number, they don't have it. So write your damn serial numbers down just in case.
Yeah, it's just like
so.
But then I think people watch too much TV maybe, and they think like, oh, it's going to be everybody's number one priority.
Oh yeah. To
find your bike, but unfortunately, Bobby over here beat his wife last night. Janet's kid ran away.
Yeah.
Johnny so and so got stabbed. Like. Other things are happening. Yeah.
So calls are put into a priority 1 through 5 typically with here in Colorado or Colorado Springs.
Disclose that information.
Yeah, it's fine. So it's like priority 1 through 5. Priority 1s are like hot calls, like they need cops there now. Somebody's getting stabbed, somebody's dying, something big is happening. So you get like a handful of those a night. Priority 2s are like we need police here, but it's not physical at the moment. So priority 2s can jump up to a 1 anytime. Any call can jump up to a 1. Priority 3s are like a crime happened that needs police attention, but it's not active and the suspect is gone or we don't know who the suspect is. Priority 4s, typically cops don't go to just because there's so many priority 3s and priority 2s holding. They get sent to those all the time. So priority 4s, if it's like a dead night, then they'll send you out to a priority 4. Most like property crime calls where like somebody broke into your car and stuff like that. That's like a priority 4, priority 5 sometimes. If you have like no suspect information, nothing, like I don't know who broke into my car, I didn't see a car, I didn't see a person, I didn't see anything, there's no video or anything, those are probably going to be priority 5s and they'll get to it eventually sometime this year.
They're not coming to like dust for fingerprints for your bike.
Yeah, depends on the situation, but most times though.
Like if it's maybe like a series of break-ins.
Yeah, if it's like prevalent in the area or they broke into your house to get into something like that, then maybe. But
yeah, I just,
but all that to say that it's a stressful job. We deal with a lot of stupidity, and then on top of that, we have all the hot calls, and as a cop, from the cop perspective, it's very difficult to compartmentalize all this stuff. I had been doing it for a long time, so I knew how to like leave work at work, Like once the shift ended, I would forget about everything I did. Vanessa, like the next morning, she'd be like, "How was work?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was good. Like I didn't get killed or assaulted." And she'd be like, "What'd you do?" I'm like, what did I do?" And like I'd have to go back and think about it, and then I would like remember, all right, this is the call that I did. This is what we did. But it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of mental stress for cops. So if you know a cop and they're just not feeling super happy, just leave them alone for a little bit.
But I think also you don't realize that you think you're good at compartmentalizing, but like when you stuff it down, it's still there. Mm-hmm. No matter how deep you stuff it, it's still there and it still impacts you. Like you always swear or swore that you're like super chill and don't get irritated and I'm the one with the attitude, but like you wouldn't even realize that you would be like irritated and want to be left alone and have an attitude.
That's what I said. Just leave me alone for a little bit and we'll be good.
Preferably for the whole 3 days that I'm off.
Yeah. And then the next 3 days too.
But yeah, I don't miss the, I mean, I still get upset about certain things. Yeah. Also, like when the news really grinds my nerves. I mean, if any news, like news anchors follow us, not that anybody is, they're probably gonna unfollow us, but I really hate them so much because they just like, they take the story and they run with it. They don't fact check anything and they just like.
They do. I think they fact check everything.
I'm a scorned ex-police wife, so
they just
bullshit.
I think they fact checked everything. They just choose what to air and what not to air.
Yeah, like there's so many times where I knew what happened because like you were there.
Right.
And then they would only choose to show the side that would make the cop look bad. And then they would leave the rest out, like that the person had like 3 felonies and the person was like trying to hit the cop with an axe and like all that gets left out. Yeah. It's just like, oh, this guy like got handled or like arrested and he has a boo-boo. But there's nothing about, you know, and obviously there's some unfortunate things that have happened in the past. Mm-hmm. And when the news gets a hold of that, it's like a crusade against cops. But I know so many good cops.
Yeah.
That it like really irks my last nerve.
Yeah. Most cops are really good. Most of the cops that I worked with are really good. Mm-hmm. I always told people, especially like when I would come into contact with people that just hated police, mm-hmm. I'd always talk to them like, why? Why do you hate police? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, you guys are assholes. I'm like, I've been talking to you for 20 minutes, man. I don't think I've been an asshole to you. Mm-hmm. Like, well, you've been all right. Mm-hmm. And so like, I loved having those conversations though. And I would tell people like, it's a customer service job. Like the very basics of it. It's a customer service job. Mm-hmm. And it's just like going to McDonald's or Burger King or Texas Roadhouse, like anywhere you're going to get customer service. You're not always going to get the best customer service. And just because you don't like the service doesn't make that person wrong. Yeah. And I know I've talked about it before as far as like educating people on like law or their rights. I've arrested so many people and they're like, I know my rights. You didn't read me Miranda rights. I'm like, I don't have to. Like, I only have to read you your Miranda rights if I'm questioning you about whatever crime it is. Mm-hmm. I can question you about a million other crimes. As long as I don't question you about the crime that I arrested you for, I'm good. Yeah. And so
everybody knows everything.
Yeah. So just educating people, like it's a big part of policing as well. Mm-hmm. And I think most cops, when they try to educate somebody about like the law or whatever incident they're going on, this person is still being arrested and being held accountable for their actions. So they don't want to hear it unless it's them being let go. Yeah. So, but yeah, I always tell people, like, it's just a big customer service job. Like, you're not going to be happy with all the service you get. I'm not going to be happy with all the clients that I'm servicing. And so it's
yeah, but like, job. There's nowhere that it says that, you know, you have an interaction with a cop and he has to like kiss your ass the whole time.
No.
You know what I mean? Like people have such like, you might go to a call and you might have just seen somebody's head bashed in, right?
Right.
Then you go to a call about somebody that doesn't want to, like who can't handle their kid and is calling the cops to discipline their kid. You're going to be a little bit irritated.
Yeah.
And Like, there's just no, like, everybody wants to be understood and, like, we need your help and this, but nobody wants to give that benefit of the doubt to the cop and, like, that they're humans and that they have to deal with a lot.
Yeah. Because all the problems that we go out
They think
to,
you're, like, superhuman or something.
all the problems that we go out to or we get called out to as a cop, like, we go through as people.
Yeah.
Like, outside of the work. Like, we're still married. We still
Yeah.
have marital problems. We still have kids. We still
Yeah.
have kids that are assholes sometimes and get in trouble themselves. We still get held accountable for, paperwork and stuff at work. So it's not like we just go out, handle a call, and we're all happy and fine and dandy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we still have real world problems that we have to deal with, and then go out and handle other people's real world problems.
And then what gets me is, like, when you read some of these comments where people are, like, trying to justify and, like, stand up for cops, it's like, well, that's what they signed up for.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and it is, but it's like, I always tell
I couldn't do
I always tell people, like, cops we have to protect other people's rights while we have ours suppressed. Because we can't, like, we don't have the First Amendment. We can't just say whatever the hell we want at work, because we can get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And not saying that cops want to say any bad shit, but I can't go to a call about you complaining about your neighbor and say you're fucking dumb. Just shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Where I could tell my neighbor that,
Yeah.
but as a civilian. But if I do it as a cop, I'm gonna get in trouble. I could get fired. I could get sued. So it's like, I protect other people's rights while I have mine suppressed. So it's a really, really tough job, but it's very rewarding. And if you have a family and you're going into policing, just be mindful of that. And our deal was, before I went in, that we would go to counseling, marriage counseling. And I think it helped when we were going.
Yeah, I don't think we went
consistently. But it's so taxing. It's, like, emotionally taxing, mentally draining. And then on top of that, like, I still want to have a happy life at home. And I'm very appreciative of everything that my wife did, because we have 3 kids, and she would, do bedtimes by herself, homework by herself. She'd be cooking dinner because I was leaving for work.
Taking the kids to sports.
Yeah, taking the kids to all their activities, doing bath times. And then it was still tricky trying to get, like, a decent schedule that worked for us, that we were both okay with. And that worked for our family.
Yeah.
So, and then you had a business to run. So I'm sure that was even more tough. So what was your least favorite part of it?
Just the whole thing. The, like, non-freedom, right? Like,
yeah,
with 9 to 5s, at least you still can, like, you call in for, like, an office job. It's not the end of the world. You call in for, like, police work. Like, oh, we only have this many people on shift. Like, you feel guilty to the point where, like, I know you've went to work, like, with a stomach virus, throwing up, like, running to the bathroom every chance you get, because, like, people depend on you. It's just so, like, the non-freedom, and, like, every November you would get to choose what two weeks blocks you would have off. And then basically after that, you take a few days here and there for, like, birthdays, and then you're done.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have any extra time. And it's just the shift. You have to pick the same shift for the whole year, and then you switch days off every 3 months. So, like, thinking ahead and, like,
trying to plan the whole year.
The whole year, and when, things happen. Kids have stuff come up last minute. They tell you about honor roll, like, 2 days before, and, like, all that stuff you have to miss. And then it puts a lot more pressure on me to be a good parent, because I'm the one that's there. So I have to do a lot of the stuff while I'm even more stressed and by myself. Obviously, like, some people might watch this and be single parents, and they're like, well, at least you have someone.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but like, you know, when you're in that situation, you don't see that. I try to usually remind myself, but I don't know how single parents do it, honestly, because it's
Kudos
like
to you guys.
beyond exhausting.
Yeah.
And I think it's also too like, if you're a single parent, then you kind of just like, you toughen up and that's what you have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you're in a relationship, right? And then it's, well, because of your job, you're missing this, this, and that. Like, it's just, I don't know.
And this is
It's
just,
weird.
I was on patrol and I was on the negotiator team for a while. So once you start getting into like specialized units, your schedule gets even crazier.
Mm-hmm.
From the outside looking in, it's like you work a 9 to 5 mostly, like, and it's usually during the week. But a lot of these units have like 3 or 4 teams, and then each team rotates on like for the on-call schedule. So you could be on call 24/7 for, you know, a week straight, every other third week, and that's basically what I was. So for a week, every third week I was on call, and anybody that needed a negotiator in the city for like any type of barricaded suspect or anything like that, I'd have to have my phone on loud. And I mean, I could have just gotten off shift and barely gone to bed, and then I get called right out. So depends on the units that you're trying to go to as well. You know, if you go into other specialized units like SWAT or K9 or fugitives or some type of detective role, then depends on how big your team is and how often you're on call. And then that put a hindrance on us too sometimes, where we would go out to, you know, a birthday party or something on my day off, and we'd have to take a separate vehicle, or I couldn't drink, or you know, we just couldn't go too far because I had to be within 30 minutes of the city center.
Yeah.
So
I mean, to say that I hated the whole thing is a little dramatic, but like the amount of things that you miss because you can't like just,
yeah,
you don't have the holidays off, tough shit. Like, you're not going to be
Right.
there. Where, you know, I know there's like nurses and doctors, and they kind of, there's a lot of professions that also go through the same thing, but a lot of our non-cop friends didn't have that, so they're like off on holidays and doing events
Right.
and stuff. And that just like having you miss them, or
and then you have to juggle, do I want to take the kids by myself to this thing, you know?
having to leave them early. Just, it stings, right? It sucks. It's like, oh, I wish you didn't have to.
Right.
I mean, I do love like the community and the camaraderie. Like, it's just a different type of friendship with those people. I feel that
you're on the slick together.
Yeah, you just understand differently.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, those conversations, and they still happen, even though you quit. They like get on my nerves, but it's also like, it's like you're watching all your kids just like reminisce and like, not reminisce, but like, I don't know, just powwow together.
Yeah.
And I always listen, even though it is annoying, because I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
But you could see the connection, and it's pretty cool to watch.
Yeah,
You guys back each other up and stuff.
It's like the military.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys that go into policing are military, ex-military. So it's like you still get that brotherhood, and especially if you've like deployed together or been into some shit together, then it kind of just builds that bond together, a bigger bond. So I still hang out with, you know, my cop buddies, and still text, and they haven't kicked me out of the group chat. So
there's other non-cops in the group chat now, no? Or is it just you?
Yeah, just us.
Yeah.
So I still get
No,
some
I'm
of the
saying
stories.
like other people that have quit as well, no?
Oh yeah.
So
Yep.
the group is gonna be like 2 or 3 people if they kick all of you out.
I know. But no, it's been good. And if you are with the police department and you're thinking about leaving, the grass is greener on the other side. I know I've said it before. Like, so I broke my leg in September of 21, and I was still all about the police department. Like, I was ready to go back as soon as possible. And then I got a taste of freedom because I was out for a little while, and it was very attractive, and it's been working out really well. So I think it was really good. But if you are with the police department, I know, especially in the state of Colorado, the laws are just killing cops right now.
Yeah.
And it's not a pro cop state. It's not as bad as some other states, but it's getting there. A lot of like the laws have been decriminalized. A lot of like criminals are walking free. A lot of cops are vulnerable to liability, personal liability, and that's kind of what I weighed before I left. And my family obviously was more important. So
thanks.
But if you are thinking about leaving, and you have something else that you want to do and find your passion, I'm sure your spouse will really enjoy you not going into work and putting yourself on the line for others as much. But we appreciate you if you are with the police department, and just know that we are huge supporters of law enforcement and military,
Yes.
Especially in this town. So if there's anything I can do for any of y'all, just let me know.
You're so nice.
So if you see me around town, just say hi. And I need to go back to a ride along to get a little bit of action. I thought I was going to get on with, we had a friend who is with the fugitive unit. And so he was asking if we had an empty house that they could send one of their fugitives to as like a little decoy and then take them. And I was like, yeah, for sure, man. We actually had one. The owners were super cool about it. They're not going into the house or anything, but I was like, the only thing that I ask is that I'm in the car, at least watching you guys take them. So that didn't happen. But
you have to like do some paintball or something, maybe like
I don't know,
simulate a dangerous situation. Maybe that'll make
just
you
go
feel
to a
alive.
shooting range or something with some randoms. But
now we ended up not talking about what it's like being married to me. Next episode.
You see all these gray hairs? I'll tell you.
Okay, this is where we stop the episode before we kill each other.
No, but it's good. Just be very open with your spouse about the crappy schedule, and hear your spouse out. And if you need to go to counseling, go to counseling. There's no shame in it, even for you badass operators. So, but yeah, just be open about it. Have that conversation. Have the tough conversations before you actually get into it. I think it took us like almost 3 years before she let me apply back to the police department here.
That's not true. It's less, but that's fine.
But yeah, just have that tough conversation and put everything on the table, because I promise you, your relationship's not going to be the same once you start in law enforcement. It'll change you. It'll change your family. You're gonna see a lot of things that most people don't see. I saw some crazy stat where it was like most people in their lifetime see like less than 5 critical incidents in their lifetime. So that's like a dead body or serious bodily injury, just something dramatic of that magnitude. And law enforcement see like hundreds, if not thousands, of those through their like a 20-year career. I was only there for 5 years, and I saw a lot of crazy stuff. So it'll change you as a person. You're going to grow up really fast if you're young. And just be prepared for that, and be prepared for that to affect your relationship, because it's not going to be all fine and dandy, I promise you.
No.
But you will be okay. So
you just have to work at it like anything else. And like as a wife, you just have to, or a spouse in general.
Yeah.
Once you like, there should be a conversation of like, are we going to do this or not? Because you are doing it together. And if your spouse is not behind you, it's going to break your family.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that I was pissed about, or like that I swallowed because I knew like I agreed to this and I said I would support him.
Right.
And so then like I just dealt with it the best I could.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like you went behind my back and applied and got the job, and like it was like we decided together.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was more important for me that you were happy doing, working every day. So that's how we agreed on it. But like it's not like you just apply for any job and like at some desk somewhere in an IT job or something, and then, that's it. It's like a lot goes into it, and you have to be, like you said, have the openness to, like, you're gonna have more problems than you think you will.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the openness that, like, this is probably because of this, and that, and like have the openness to talk and like work things out, then it's not gonna end well.
Yeah.
I feel. I think the divorce rate, if you looked it up, is insane.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if there are any questions, feel free to leave a comment.
Yes.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we really appreciate y'all listening. Just remember, you're in the job because you are resilient and you know how to get through most shit. So keep doing it. But yeah, just let us know if you have any questions, or if you have questions about the academy, or if you're thinking about applying, you have specific questions, feel free to reach out. We usually reply pretty quick. So thanks again for watching and listening, however you get into content, and we'll see you on the next one.